We have been traveling for almost 2.5 years, and I think Amelia may be reaching her end of living out of a suitcase.
That is true. I have my moments where I am seriously wanting a home base.
Yeah, I'm kind of hitting my limit too on the suitcase living, especially the air travel after being thrown up on by a toddler on our long haul flight from Malaysia. Air travel is I'm about done with that.
Yeah. I can't imagine why, JP.
Yeah, so in this video, we're going to talk about the countries that are on our short list for second residency. We are still permanent residents in Ecuador, and we will still be spending time there every couple of years at least to maintain that residency. But it's always been our plan to get another residency somewhere else because it is good to have options.
Well, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to slow travel. And it wasn't just to see the world, it was to take some of these other countries for test drives.
Yep, definitely.
But before we dive into our list, if you are new to our channel, we're Amelia and JP, and we can help you fast track your move abroad, whether you want to leave the US and live in another country like we did, or if you want to slow travel like we're doing.
Yeah, and slow travel is a great way to check off some of those countries.
Absolutely.
Okay, Amelia, so this is just our list of places that will work for us. We are not retired, like a lot of people think. We're not. We're in our 50s. We don't have a pension or Social Security yet, so we cannot qualify for those retirement visas. So our list might look a little bit different than maybe what would work for you.
We should do a video about that, JP, where we would move to if we were retired and living on Social Security. I think people would appreciate that.
Yeah, because that list would look different than this one, since we have to qualify on by other means.
Exactly.
All right, we do have a couple of other requirements too. One is my parents are getting older. They're in their 80s now. Hi, Mom and Dad. And they are in need of more of my help, and we kind of need to be a little bit closer to home. It can't take me 3 days to get back home.
No, we don't want to be halfway around the world, and I want to be closer to my family too. It's important.
We also would like to minimize our tax burden. I know a lot of you complain when we talk about that, but why pay half your income in taxes if you don't have to? And there are some options on our list that they have some taxes, but it's not a ridiculous amount. We really need to be putting more into our retirement savings because retirement is not that far away from us now, and we are not prepared. So,
agreed.
Yeah, we still need to do that.
Yes, although I see us working for a long time. I don't know if I'm ever going to truly retire.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I don't know what we would do all day besides just sit around, stare at each other.
I think we would have some new hobbies.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, Visa Queen, the Visa expert right here. What is the first country on our short list of places that will work for us?
That is Malta. We visited this country and we fell in love with it. We met with an immigration attorney and she walked us through a lot of different options. One is the digital nomad visa, which would work for us. She also said it was the fastest and the easiest to get and one of the cheapest options, but it does not lead to permanent residency, which is something we're looking for. So we would be more interested in the Global Residence Program, the GRP. That one has other requirements like an income requirement, and you have to get a year lease, and you have to pay taxes, but they tell you how much that is. It's a minimum of 15,000 euros a year or 15%. So at least we can plan for our tax burden that way.
Yeah, and it's pretty low by European standards. Like some of the countries we ruled out we would be in the 40+% tax bracket.
Yikes.
And we don't make that much money. Their brackets are just really low.
Yeah, and for those of you who are watching and you're from the US, remember you still have to pay taxes no matter where you are in the world. So this is one of the reasons we think about this stuff.
Yeah, you have to pay them to the US. Although you might qualify for that foreign earned income exclusion, but you may not if you want to spend some of your time in the U.S.
Yeah, you definitely need to do some tax planning.
Yeah, so a nice thing about Malta is English is an official language and everybody speaks English there. So it was really easy for us to communicate. It's safe, there's lots of sun. They claim to have 300 days of sun per year, which is important for us. The winters are mild. Spring and fall are beautiful. It can get really hot in the summer, though.
Yes, so that's when we would want to go someplace cooler,
yeah,
like one of those Scandinavian countries.
Yeah, like Riga.
Or Riga,
it's one of another favorite place, but I would not want to be there in the winter.
I loved all the history there, and the fact that we could go to the different islands I just loved it. It was a fantastic place. We had a great time.
It's a good place, a good base to explore the rest of Europe too, because they're short. Those Ryanair flights are cheap to get to other places.
Yes.
Yeah, the downsides are the hot summers. It can be really crowded.
Yeah, there's a lot of, they've had a big bump in tourism over the years, and more people moving there, not just from the US, other Europeans moving from more higher cost of living countries.
Yeah, and the airport is very small, and it was really crowded.
It was.
It wasn't very efficient, and you had to fly to get everywhere. They do have a ferry that goes to Sicily and Italy.
Yeah, so
but
that's an option.
really you're flying if you want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And they're on the euro, so then you've got the exchange rate to deal with because the dollar is not very strong against the euro right now. So,
Okay.
All right, what's the next country on our list, Amelia?
Well, that is one of our absolute favorites, Albania. For a variety of reasons, it's one of our favorites, one of which is the fact that we can come here with our U.S. passports visa-free and stay for up to a year. It doesn't get much easier than that because we don't even have to do any paperwork.
Yeah, it is nice. And they have electronic the readers at
Yeah.
the airport now. You scan your passport and walk right through, and there's the baggage claim. And I told Amelia when we came in this time, like, was that it? Like, I feel like somebody should be asking us for something, but it was just,
so
we were just
easy.
right through. We didn't even
Yep.
have to wait. I mean, it was amazing. One of the easiest entries we've had in a long time.
Yeah, and we just love it here. We've spent a lot of time in Albania. Tirana is still our favorite place by far. We really like the energy of the capital city. It's very livable here, except for the smoking.
Yeah, the smoking. However, you forgot to talk about the other visa.
Oh, well, that is important in case, since we are supposed to be talking about visas. So they do have different residency visa options. And we know several people who have come and stayed on the year-long tourist or visa-free option, and then they've decided they want to make this their permanent home base, and they are applying for different visas. So they have their unique permits, which we would do because we're self-employed, or also you could use that as a digital nomad, but then they also have a retiree version. There's several different versions of the visa, and they're one of the easier ones to get.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
It's very appealing.
It is.
And it's still affordable, even though it's on the LEC is their official currency, but it's pegged to the euro at 100 to 1. So unfortunately, now with the US dollar weakness against the euro, things have gone up. So we're paying like another 18% more than we paid when we were here 2 years ago, because the prices haven't changed
Right.
relative to the euro, but they have relative to the dollar.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's still, that being said, it is still very affordable here.
It is very affordable still, especially by European standards. They have mild winters. We spent January, February, March here 2 years ago, and it was nice. We were a couple times in January, we were out with just short sleeve shirts on, or a
Well, you
light
were.
jacket. I know I am, but I'm always hot.
It was super hot here in the summer, though.
Yeah, the
Oh,
summers
my.
are a bit brutal. A lot of the expats leave and go to the mountains in Bulgaria or go to some other place that's cooler for the summer, because we were also here in July and August and it was over 100 degrees for like 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, that was not my favorite. We would definitely want to
Yeah.
leave for that.
English is really common here, especially if anyone under 40 pretty much speaks English. It's very safe. Even our cab driver told us on the way in, it's super safe here. If a single woman can walk home by themselves at 2
Yep.
o'clock in the morning from the bar and not have to worry. But they do have pickpockets on the bus. He said, hey, be completely safe walking alone at night, but then you get on the bus and get your pocket picked. So you got to be careful, but it happens everywhere.
It does. Yeah, Albania has so much to offer.
Yeah, it does. And it's so beautiful. The country is just so beautiful.
It is beautiful.
The major downside, though, is the smoking.
Yes.
It's like 80% of the population smokes, and it is just everywhere, even in the park. I mean, some of the restaurants, they smoke indoors.
Yeah, that's a bit painful. They have them where they could open the windows, so I think they're technically not indoors. But you can avoid that. A lot of it is open air, which is nice, and the park's not too bad.
Yeah.
We've only encountered a couple people smoking when we're walking
We
around
just
the park.
kick it into
That's
high
right.
gear.
Just
Power walk.
walk past them.
All right, if you're thinking about moving abroad, we have all of these visa details broken down in our visa matrix, which goes into the different options and how much income or savings you need for each of those, and like if they have retirement or digital nomad. So you can download that on our website at ameliaandjp.com/toolkit. And I will put a link below, and you can scan this QR code.
There you go. There's a lot of other tools in there as well.
Yes, there are. All right, what's the next country on our list, Amelia?
The next country is Costa Rica, and they also have a digital nomad visa that we would qualify for. But again, it does not lead to permanent residency. However, they have a rentista visa, and for that one, we could do their savings option. They have a monthly I'll call it income, but they have a monthly requirement. It's more specific than just your pension income, since it's not a pension or visa. But for the savings, you put that in a bank account, and then basically that meets your monthly requirement, so you're allowed to withdraw and live off of that for the next 2 years.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that will go into permanent residency. And one of the reasons Costa Rica is appealing is because it is close to the U.S.
Yeah, we can have direct flights back to multiple cities in the U.S. I could be back in Kansas in the same day if I needed to be. That's nice.
And parts of it are still affordable. I know Costa Rica is not as cheap as it was like 30 years ago, especially some of those popular areas where they have all those resorts. But, you know, you don't have to move there. You can go to other places.
I like it. They have that Pura Vida lifestyle,
Yes.
that relaxed and peaceful lifestyle. There's mountain and beach options to choose from, which we like. We could split our time between the mountains and the beach.
We could, and then when it's too rainy for us, we could just go to another country.
Yeah, go
like
back to Ecuador.
Exactly.
Lots of nature to explore
Yes.
and wildlife in Costa Rica, which
Yeah.
is appealing to
It
us.
is. And they have good food.
The rainy season is a downside, though.
That's a big downside.
Yeah, and it's not as safe as it used to be either. We've been hearing more about that. I think with El Salvador becoming more secure, I think a lot of people left there and went to other countries in Latin America, and so El Salvador is now exporting their criminal activity because they don't want to be there. So that's a downside.
It is.
All right, what's our final country on our short list, Amelia?
This is a short list, and number 1 is Mexico. And I think that is appropriate because for those of you who don't know, JP and I were considering Mexico. We were debating between Mexico and Ecuador when we first wanted to move abroad, and now here we are, full circle.
Yep. Yeah, we still will be spending time in Ecuador, of
Of
course,
course.
but Mexico is appealing. So a lot of people complain about the visas there now. So what would we qualify for?
Well, they complain about it because they raised the income requirement so high a couple years ago, and it's still up there pretty high. However, they do have a savings option. So you can we can't qualify for the permanent because we're not retired, but we can qualify for their temporary residency visa, which will go to permanent after like 4 or 5 years. And for that, we can use the savings option. So that's a really good option for us, along with the fact that they do not have a physical presence requirement, which is great because we still want to be able to travel.
Yeah, and split our time.
Yes, and of course it is super close to the U.S.
Yeah.
And Mexico is so big, we have so many places to choose from.
Yeah, I could really be back. I could leave in the morning and be back in Kansas by the afternoon.
Yes.
And from several of those cities that we like in Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico has a lot going for it. I know the crime is a major downside, and I know people are ruling Mexico out because of the cartel violence, but that is not happening all over the country. There's dangerous places and safe places like there are any place in the world.
Yeah, just have to avoid those and choose a more safe place. Also, the weather can be a bit sketchy on the coast. They have the hurricanes on the Caribbean side and the Pacific side now. Remember that one just hit Acapulco and wiped out a bunch of resorts and stuff. But you can avoid that by moving inland.
You can.
There's a lot of mountain areas.
Yeah, exactly. Going to a mountain or just leaving for a while because it can get very hot there and very humid as well. So
I know a lot of people don't realize there are mountains in Mexico. In the central part, there's a lot of those cities are at 6,000 feet or higher.
Yeah, like Mexico City.
Yeah, Mexico's at 7,400, I think. So yeah, it's actually cooler there in the summer because of the elevation.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, but whereas on the coast, everybody leaves because it's like 100 and humid during June. But
I have been to Mexico along the border towns in July, and it was quite miserable. I do not want to repeat that.
Yeah.
I don't recommend that unless you're from that part of the world.
I do like those mountain cities, though, especially anything below 7,000 feet, and I don't have issues with the elevation.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of cities at that 6,000 mark that would be nice.
I feel like we should mention one of the reasons we chose Ecuador in the first place was also because they had a visa we could qualify for because we were not retired then either.
Yep. They had the professional visa, which worked for us. And at the time, there were no digital nomad visas.
No, there weren't.
In 2017, there may have been one, but for somewhere, but they were not very common.
No, so we were able to do the professional visa. The income requirement for that was pretty low, although they lowered it since we applied. But they also have an investor visa there that you could do and you could work, so you don't have to be retirement age to do investor visa, and it comes in under 50,000. So it's really a low requirement compared to some other countries, especially those European countries.
Yeah, and we still love Ecuador.
Yes, we
and
do.
Again, it's not dangerous everywhere. There are dangerous parts that you avoid as an expat, but overall the country's still pretty safe in most of the places where expats choose to live.
Agreed.
You have to try to keep your head up and pay attention to your surroundings. That's what we always say.
Yep. I think this is a good list.
I agree.
would be happy. I think we would be happy in any of these.
Yeah, I agree. So what do you think? What you think Mexico's is it, or split our time, or?
I think we will still end up splitting our time because, first of all, as much as I want a home base, that doesn't mean we're not ever going to travel. And we also have to be mindful of the taxes.
Yeah.
So we're still playing around with all of that. We have plenty of time to decide. We're not moving, setting up roots or putting down roots. I mixed my metaphors. We're not putting down roots tomorrow. We're still traveling.
All right, guys, if you are thinking about leaving the U.S. and moving abroad, be sure to grab our free toolkit at ameliaandjp.com/toolkit before you go.
Yep, and stay tuned for that video. I think we got to put that way up the list, the video about where we would move if we were collecting Social Security.
Yeah, that's a good idea. All right, guys, that's all we have for today. We'll see you all in our next video. And leave us a like before you go.
Yes, please.
Ciao.
Ciao.